Well, this is going to be quite an interesting video.
YouTube is a very different place now than it was way back in 2006. Back then, the concept of an internet celebrity just didn't exist. You couldn't make a living off producing videos for the internet. All of this changed, however, when James Rolfe uploaded a pair of videos that he'd made 2 years prior as a fluke to YouTube. The videos? Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. The character?
The angry Nintendo nerd.
The videos were a runaway success, helping pioneer the world of internet-made content and spawning many imitators the world over trying to replicate Rolfe's success. Most of these copycats came and went, disappearing as quickly as they had popped up. But one among them was able to stand above the rest and become a success himself. This man was Chris Bors, and his character was the Irate Gamer. Almost immediately after Bors was flung into the spotlight, he was met with allegations of plagiarism, and angry video game nerd fans labeling him as a ripoff. For years, there were heated debates among the two fandoms raging in the YouTube comments. The site was aflame with furious response videos, fighting for their chosen side. And throughout it all, I was there. I didn't have any kind of video camera at the time, or a YouTube account, but I was there, the silent observer, watching all of this unfold before my very eyes. For years, both Bors and Rolfe remained largely silent in regards to the allegations, changing the topic as quickly as possible when confronted with it.
Anyway, let's take another one. Let's take Super Mario Brothers 2, third from the top.
Hey, Charlie, Alabama, what's the deal?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey, what's up? What about Mario 2?
Hurry, come on.
Yeah. I was watching this guy called the Irate Gamer. He was showing these resemblances between Mario 2
Let's take the next one. Let's
Next
take
call.
R-rated Ninja Turtle movie.
Ninja Turtle.
Both just carried on making their respective shows, leaving fans everywhere in the dark as to what really happened between them, if anything at all. After the initial fury from fan camps died down, the Irate Gamer seemed to largely disappear from public consciousness. Every so often, I'd hear Chris's name and think, oh yeah, the Irate Gamer, I remember him, whatever happened to that guy? And then I'd just move on, thinking he'd faded away like many of the other personalities with channels at the birth of YouTube. That is, until October 2nd, 2014, when Bors released a nearly 40-minute video detailing his side of the plagiarism controversy. While Bors does recount actual events that did take place, the video is full of misinformation, whether it be through half-remembered facts, unsubstantiated claims, or flat-out lies. My intention in making this piece is to settle once and for all what is fact and what is fiction in the Irate Gamer's opening up video, while also providing relevant background information on the conflict for people who may be new to this topic, and most importantly, give Chris Bors a fair trial. The video in question is titled Archfiend Response. Irate Gamer finally opens up on AVGN and more, and is, as stated, intended to be a video response to a vlog posted by fellow YouTuber The Archfiend. The post was directed at vocal critics of Bors, and it insisted that continuing to hold a grudge against Chris for his actions nearly a decade ago was petty and should just be let go. After Chris gives credit, Archfiend is rarely brought up, in spite of their interesting past together. Chris then goes on to recount his origins on YouTube.
So, let's rewind this thing all the way back to 2006.
On January 18th, 2006, Chris made his YouTube debut on his Y2B 2006 YouTube channel, Y2B being the name of Chris's one-man production company. On this channel, Bors would post various ghost hunting videos, TV show parodies, and effects videos with no reviews to speak of. These uploads all earned middling to poor views, and at its height, the channel featured a sub 1,000 subscriber count. As a result, Boars went largely unnoticed as an online presence for over a year. It was during this intervening time that Chris discovered a style of video making that really resonated with him: angry reviewing.
One of the big things on YouTube back in that day were these things called angry reviews of old video games. I mean, it was the in thing that I just stumbled across. And that first night, I was just like, wow, this is so cool. I really found something that I was inspired by.
Even though he had ideas of what he could contribute to this genre, he stayed quiet. That is, until he came across one comment by a man he very much respected.
Actually, there was one catalyst that changed my mind. One thing that I ran across on YouTube that told me, hey, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do just that. And during that time, I had run across a video that somebody had posted because, there was James doing his angry reviews and, just a bunch of other people doing them as well. There's, over 100. And one person asked him, he said, do you mind that you have so many people doing the exact same thing that you're doing? And James actually responded to this he responded to this email saying, yeah, I find it very flattering. I don't care, if a bunch of people do this. It's awesome.
While the specific video Chris is referring to is likely long gone, these words ring true, as James Rolfe has been quoted sharing this sentiment on more than one occasion. This was exactly the motivation Boars needed to start his own series of videos. On April 23, 2007, Chris registered the Irate Gamer YouTube channel, and 5 days later, he uploaded his first review, Back to the Future. The series was far more successful than any of the Y2B 2006 videos, and while the Irate Gamer show was not yet the YouTube heavyweight it would later become, the early episodes still gained around 500 subscribers for the channel in just over 2 months. Everything changed, however, on August 19th, 2007, when fame came knocking at Chris's door in the form of his Super Mario Bros. 2 review being featured on the front page of YouTube. This new exposure gained Chris no less than 6,000 subscribers in a period of 4 days, making him the second most popular video game reviewer on YouTube. Only a day after Mario 2 had been featured, Game Trailers, the site that was then exclusively hosting Rolfe's videos, announced the Out-Nerd the Nerd User Movie Contest, which ran from August 20th to September 16th of that year. I'm going to emphasize right here that this is the order in which these events took place. So when Boars says this...
by this time, I had maybe 100 fans subscribed to my channel. And a lot of these fans were in the know. They knew everything that was going down. And they told me about this Out-Nerd the Nerd contest. And they're like, hey, you should enter your stuff into the contest because it's really... you do a great job with editing and all this stuff. You're skilled. Maybe you get some more views that way. Because, my videos had like maybe 200 views.
It is, in fact, a lot. Boars also claims that many of his uploads from the summer of 2007 were made for this contest, when in reality only one of his videos could have possibly been made specifically for it, that being his TMNT video, which was uploaded September 10th. As a brief aside, I did consider the possibility that Chris could have began work on his follow-up review, Yo Noid, during the time frame of this contest, and production difficulties or something could have prevented it from being entered, but this notion was ultimately disproven by a news post from September 17th, the day after the contest had ended, in which he explains that the review was still in its early scripting phases of production. Chris's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles review has been referenced countless times by his detractors as one of the most clear-cut examples of his plagiarism. This contest would explain why this is the case. Chris then goes on to explain his feelings after he realized he hadn't won the Out-Nerd the Nerd contest.
yeah, I submitted all this stuff. And after that, I found out that another guy won. His name was the Happy Nerd, I guess. And I watched the video and I said to myself, you've got to be kidding me. This is what won the contest? It was nothing like the nerd. And, I was kind of miffed by that.
First, this impression is demonstrably untrue. Derek Alexander, or the Happy Video Game Nerd's winning video, not only includes a parody rendition of the Angry Video Game Nerd's theme song,
It's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck ass.
I'd rather let the people know about the underrated classics of old. Fan fiction pods about shitty games like it's been done a million times before.
but it also features a recreation of the intro of AVGN's Karate Kid episode.
Well, let me be honest with you about this one. Ooh boy, I hate this game. I mean, it makes me want to kill myself.
Well, let me be completely honest with you about this one. Ooh boy, I love this game. I mean, I loved it as a kid growing up, and I love it just as much now. It's one of my favorite games for the Nintendo.
Second, Alexander's video was far more informative than the one Boris created for the contest, featuring 0 errors in the face of Chris's 7.
Well, I later found out that the contest was rigged, and I'm sure James had a hand in actually picking the winner, and of course that was kind of the first time he kind of snuffed me at that point.
Boris never elaborates on what he actually means by the contest being rigged, nor does he explain where he got this information or how James picking the winner of a contest based on his own character would be unethical. On top of all this, he doesn't provide any evidence to back up his accusations. However, the rules page of the Outnerd the Nerd contest clearly state that the winner will be chosen by the Game Trailer's editorial team. Third, and most importantly, Boris likely didn't win because he simply didn't follow the guidelines. The contest page states, and I quote, "Movie submissions must be an original, not previously published segment and cannot use any or all of anyone's user movie that has previously been posted on Game Trailers or any other website." This would mean that any of Chris's videos posted to YouTube before or during the contest would have been immediately disqualified. Somewhere in the middle of all this, Chris sent an email to James Rolfe. In this email, Boris acknowledges that he did in fact lift several AVGN lines and phrases and use them in his own videos. However, due to the fact that these were private emails, little is truly known about what Chris received in return. Here's Chris's recollection of the reply message and the fallout from this event.
Interestingly enough, he kind of had a set of demands that he wanted from me that said, I'm okay with this, but I want you to publicly acknowledge that I was your inspiration. I want it in black and white, and I want it done in this manner. And so I didn't reply right away, but I woke up one morning and saw that the email that I sent him was posted online.
Feeling betrayed by the man who gave him such inspiration, Boris decided to bury the issue and carry on with his channel. This silence continued on both sides for nearly 2 years, until the AVGN panel at the ScrewAttack Gaming Convention on July 4th, 2009, when a fan asked this.
What do you think of the Irate Gamer?
Answer as quickly as I can. I have no reason to answer it. I mean, he pretty much pretends that I don't exist, so why would I even need to say anything about it?
Boris eventually saw this video. Here are his comments.
Even James around this time took another shot at me publicly. I guess he was at some expo thing and someone asked him what he thought of the Irate Gamer. And his reply was, well, since he doesn't acknowledge my existence, I won't do that either. And all I could sit back and think was, wow, if you weren't such a dick to me, things would have been a lot different. I would have talked about you all the time and been more than happy to do so. But for a guy that's always undercutting me, and for someone who posted a private email to him online for basically everyone to laugh at and make fun of, what'd you expect me to do?
It's long been speculated it was actually James Rolfe's longtime sidekick and social media director, Mike Matei, who actually leaked the email. Its release wasn't only due to the fact that Chris failed to reply to the email, but also the fact that he released the TMNT video shortly thereafter, which contained full lines lifted from Rolfe's reviews. However, there isn't much hard evidence available to support this, and what little information is out there is from potentially biased sources. As such, this theory, while possible, should not be treated as fact. As a result of this letter being deleted shortly after its posting, the time frame for this event has since become unclear, but this post from the Hungarian gaming blog, Rozek PC Jekok Soroza, Bad PC Game Series, does confirm that the email was released sometime before October 19th, 2007.
I didn't see him as that same person anymore after that. And, I will say, for someone who is so concerned about copying, how come I've never seen a Let's Play video on his channel posted before PewDiePie came along? Yeah, I've never seen anyone make that observation.
Nobody's made this observation because it's provably incorrect, as Felix Kjellberg, aka PewDiePie, started his YouTube channel on April 29th, 2010, and uploaded his first Let's Play on October 2nd of 2010. The first video in the Let's Play format on AVGN's channel was the Playing Odyssey behind the scenes video, uploaded September 30th, 2009.
Now, during this time as well, James was kind of doing things to me as well that I'm sure, just the regular people wouldn't pick up on. As you know, the Mario Brothers 2 review, he watched it. He told me he watched it. Shortly after that, he ended up making his Mario 3 review. And there's a lot of similarities in that review if you watch it. Both are set up like half documentary, half review. Both have like a satanic type theme to it, which I thought was interesting. There's just a lot of other similarities where if the tables were reversed, if I had done my Mario review after his Mario 3 review, I would have been drugged through the mud.
Despite his claims that both videos contained satanic themes and featured a half-documentary, half-review structure, anyone who actually watches them will find that neither video uses any documentary elements apart from giving background information on the games themselves, which is already a common fixture of both series. In addition, the satanic themes are much heavier in Rolfe's episode compared to the one created by Boars, with the AVGN episode featuring a satanic conspiracy and a finale where the nerd character goes up against a demon, whereas in IG's Mario 2 review, Evil Boars is just sent to hell in a brief scene before the credits.
I would announce things that I wanted to review. I announced, I'm going to review Silver Surfer. He did it a month later. And then I announced, I'm going to do Superman. Superman 64. He did that a month later. So there came a point where I had to stop posting on my website the reviews that I wanted to do because James would always beat me to the punch.
These statements are also false. Chris announced that he intended to review both Superman and Silver Surfer between June 25th and October 7th of 2008. The Angry Video Game Nerd released his Silver Surfer review via game trailers on June 5th, 2007 to coincide with the theatrical release of Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer, which was released in North America on June 15th of that year. As for Superman, the last capture the Internet Archive has of Boars' episode page with no mention of Superman was taken on June 25th, 2008, After this date, there's over 3 months of nothing until the archive again took a capture that does include the Superman announcement on October 7th, 2008. This means that the earliest Boris could have possibly announced his plans to review Superman would have been June 26th, the very day that the AVGN's review was released on game trailers. In order for Rolfe to do what Chris is accusing him of doing, he would have had to have gone through all stages of production, including
playing the game, writing the script, shooting the video and recording the voiceover, and editing the video.
All within the span of 24 hours. Considering this would be physically impossible, it's safe to say that Boris is again not being entirely truthful. He then goes on to speak about the Rob the Robot controversy.
Now, I guess James, at some point, ended up putting in the ending of his video that he was going to do Rob the Robot. It was foreshadowing the next episode because it popped up behind his back or something like that. At this point, I had stopped watching his videos. So I had no idea that he did this. Now, 3 or 4 days later, I ended up doing a Rob the Robot review. And people were screaming bloody murder. And saying that, oh, the only reason he did this, Irate Gamer did this review is because he was going to do it first. And I just sat there going, wait, what? First of all, how can I put together a review like this in the matter of 3 or 4 days? It took me a good month to put this together. Second of all, I took a clip from the footage that I was working on, 2 months prior. It was in the intro of one of my videos. I think it was either the Cubert or the Predator video that I did, and put that right in the intro. So I myself was foreshadowing, I was doing Rob the Robot 2 months prior to James's video coming out. So I just sat there scratching my head like, what kind of people am I dealing with that they don't see this?
The 2 pieces of evidence Chris provides here are suspect at best. When he alleges that his review came out 4 days after AVGN's NES Accessories episode, this is a flat-out lie. The Nerd video was released May 14th, 2008, and the Irate Gamer's Rob the Robot Part 1 was released May 29th. A 15-day production schedule is very doable. Additionally, the clip from the Irate Gamer theme song that Chris refers to isn't even the same one used in the review. Even if it was, though, this moment is featured in Part 2 of the Rob review, which was released a little less than a month later. Given all the evidence stacked up against Boris here, one could assume that he is once again not being honest with his viewers. One could assume that, but one would be wrong. In this instance, Boris is absolutely telling the truth. On April 18th, 2008, Chris announced via his episodes page that his next review was going to be NES Rob. As I mentioned earlier, the AVGN episode with the Rob tease was released May 14th, 2008. Thus, when it comes to the Rob the Robot controversy, Chris Boris is completely innocent.
Even with, I think, the Odyssey, I had foreshadowed, it was the very first history of video games that I did. I had foreshadowed again, look, I'm going to do the Magnavox Odyssey. Before I could get to it, he ends up reviewing the Magnavox Odyssey. So it was stuff like this I dealt with constantly. And if you don't believe me, it's like, well, why would he even review a system like this? It was such a departure from something like an Atari or a Nintendo game.
This, however, is not right. Boris mentions that he first announced that he would review the Odyssey at the end of his first installment of History of Video Games, which was uploaded to YouTube May 8th, 2009. The AVGN gave the Odyssey a full review on April 21st, 2009.
People like Asolari, even Archfiend, they were starting to catch on to this stuff and be like, hey, what the hell is with this guy? Why is he, he's making tons of money. Why is he making this Kickstarter for a movie? And, I just want to make it known that I don't fault him for using Kickstarter to do his movie. I mean, It seems like everybody's doing that these days, and there's a lot of great programs that show up on Kickstarter. Things like Reading Rainbow, which is, a great thing to bring to the public, because there's education always comes first in my mind. So programs like that are great. But I think when James does stuff like the Kickstarter for his movie, then the Kickstarter for Cheetahmen, is just, the way things just kind of transpired really went sour.
Next, Chris brings up 2 scandals. He claims that James Rolfe scammed his fans by embezzling money from a fundraiser that went towards the budget of the AVGN movie, and he claims that a Kickstarter campaign promising an unglitched version of the NES game Cheetahmen 2 was fraudulent. On October 16, 2011, James Rolfe released a video on the Cinemassacre YouTube channel advertising an Indiegogo, not Kickstarter, fundraiser for a feature film based on his nerd character. This campaign earned over $325,000, over $250,000 more than its posted funding goal. This eliminated the need for investor backing, which was Rolfe's original intent.
We thought before that only a portion of the budget would be fan donated and the rest of it would all come from investors, but now it seems that this whole thing could be totally fan supported, and that would ensure that we would have 100% creative control over the project.
It wasn't long before fans started to speculate that the funds did not in fact go towards the making of the film, but rather Rolfe himself. Due to the private nature of how this money was spent, it's hard to determine exactly where it all went, but it should be said that Rolfe did not promise nothing in return for a donation. Each donation level included perks, in the form of a message from James himself, behind-the-scenes footage, and memorabilia, such as a signed photograph of the nerd and a copy of the film's script, all of which Rolfe did provide.
So, yeah. I just got the nerd's autograph. Oh my god, this is insane. This is crazy.
The second scandal is far more cut and dry. On August 6th, 2012, a man named Greg Pabich launched a Kickstarter in an effort to produce an unglitched version of the rare NES game Cheetahmen 2, retitled Cheetahmen 2: The Lost Levels. The game was to come complete with a patched ROM that would allow players to access the last 2 levels of the game in normal play, something made previously impossible due to coding errors, along with a sealed box, a manual, and a comic book. On August 7th, 2012, Pat the NES Punk, AVGN, and the Game Chasers all appeared in a promotional video for the Kickstarter entitled Play or Die. Immediately after it was posted, fans of all 3 series began to suspect that the entire endeavor was a scam perpetrated by a con man, on the grounds that the $65,000 funding goal seemed to be a bit unrealistic a price just to put an existing ROM onto a standard NES cartridge. 2 days later, Mike Matei took to the comment section of the Play or Die video using the James Nintendo Nerd YouTube account and publicly renounced the campaign, stating, "I would take the video down, but since there's other people involved, I'm unable to, and that endorsing the project was a mistake," further stating that he personally didn't believe in the project. One day after these comments were posted, Boris took to his channel and uploaded a video entitled E-Begging the Spoof, in which he jokingly asks his fans for large sums of money through Kickstarter to buy extravagant things for him and his friends.
I come to you today because me and my friends need more money. Exactly what do I need? Well, first off, a private jumbo jet for me to travel back and forth from E3 in every year. And I'll also build my own special effects department that rivals LucasArts. It will be a thing of beauty.
The description of this video also featured a parody of Mike Matei's comments reading, "Update. Due to a few people not liking this video, I am seeking permission to take this video down from someone that doesn't exist, even though I can easily remove this video from my channel anytime I like. In the meantime, I will be closing comments, closing voting, and leaving ads where they are, so I can still continue to make even more money off you, even though I keep telling you that I'm against this video," seemingly implying that Boris is unaware of Pabich's involvement and believes that Rolfe himself is the one who started the Kickstarter. 2 days after this, James made a post on his own Cinemassacre website featuring an update video from Pabbage that provided a point-by-point breakdown of the price of each game.
I'm not buying just one cartridge. I'm going to order over 1,000 game cartridges at a cost of $25 a piece. And to that, I'm going to add the cost of a game box, styrofoam, shrink wrap, comic book, instruction manual, and a host of other things that go into making a complete game package for you.
In James's own words on the issue. On Cinemassacre, we usually run advertisements for Burger King or something like that, so when I was asked to promote a game that I reviewed on AVGN, it sounded like a cool idea. Over the past week, there's been a lot of fuss over this Cheetahmen thing. My suggestion is not to listen to internet rumors and jump to conclusions. Make your own judgment and only donate if you want a Cheetahmen game. The choice is yours. I'm truly sorry about the inconvenience. Regardless of the lack of faith by James, Mike, and the fans, the whole saga came to a close on December 10th, 2012, when the first batch of Cheetahmen 2 games shipped.
So basically, for Christmas, I got Scam in a box. This don't look like Scam to me. It looks awesome. It's something that I wanted personally, and, thanks a lot, Greg Pabbage.
It's unclear if Rolfe received any compensation for his endorsement of the Cheetahmen 2 campaign, but what is clear is the fact that Greg Pabbage was the man behind the whole ordeal, and not James, as Chris seems to think. With that, Boers then concludes his video by reflecting on how much time has passed since the early days, mentioning how some of his most vocal critics have mellowed since, and in some cases even switched to his side.
It's kind of nice now knowing that people like, Acelary and Archfiend and a host of others. I'm sorry I'm blanking on names right now, but it's kind of nice to see that they've mellowed out and kind of seen my side and seen things for what they are.
He also speaks towards the future of his channel.
But I'm very content with what I'm doing now. I know I'm doing a lot of Skylander things, and I'm doing a lot of ghost things outside of, YouTube, which, I'll be posting more of those during October.
Before then thanking his fans and signing off.
Thanks again for watching. Love the fans. If it weren't for you guys, I wouldn't be here. So thanks again, and until next time, game on.
All throughout the production of this piece, I've been trying to find the answers to these 3 questions for myself. Is Boers a bad person for doing what he did? Does he deserve the hate that he continues to get for something he did nearly a decade ago? And why did he make this video? In my opinion, the answer to the first question is decidedly no. He is not a bad person. Chris was the proverbial dog that caught the car. Achieving widespread fame without warning and almost out of thin air. Staying silent over the plagiarism allegations, thus tacitly presenting other people's content as his own, was a mistake on his part. However, due to the obvious overwhelming circumstances of his rise to fame, I personally do not begrudge Chris for making these mistakes in the moment so long ago. But what I do find frustrating is the fact that to this day, it doesn't seem he's learned anything from these mistakes, neglecting to properly apologize to the ones he's wronged.
Look, if I offended anyone, I apologize, but, look, this is YouTube. This isn't, something like the movies or TV. It's YouTube. Get over it.
And continuing to lie when he tells his side of the events. So does he still deserve the hate? Well, that depends entirely on what you mean by hate. Many seem to think that pointing out Chris's flaws and mistakes is hating on him. It's not. It's what's known as criticism. It would be ridiculous of me to say it's wrong to criticize Boers just because it's 2017. He's an entertainer. The only way he can improve his craft is by listening to the critique and feedback of others. Even negative criticism can be helpful. If we're talking about the actual hate Chris received, I would say no. He doesn't deserve the hate now, because he never deserved the slew of hate and unsubstantiated vitriolic attacks that he received back then. What Boers does deserve, however, is to be challenged. He owes it to his fans, his influences, and most of all himself to come clean and be honest about everything he did to get where he is now. He needs to show that he realizes what he did was wrong, and that he will learn from his mistakes. Until then, I don't think he, nor his fans, should allow him to easily forget what he's done. So, why did Chris make this video? That's the one question I can't answer. Nobody but Chris himself can. I know he didn't make it to get anything off his chest. Was he doing it just to bring attention to his channel? This seems like the most likely answer, but I'd like to think not. I want to believe that Chris genuinely does want to do the right thing here. But his pride or just something just got in the way of him telling the whole truth. And yet, as of right now, I have nothing to support that. Prove me right, Chris. Do the right thing. I'm Ben from Common Nonsense Media, and until next time, game on.